What's good, family? Welcome to another episode of Rolam Live. You already know I'm your host, Rolam, and today I'm joined by my guy, Malcolm McFadden from 615 Comics. Malcolm, how you feeling today, brother?
Feeling good, feeling good. What's up, everybody?
McFadden from 615 Comics. Malcolm, how you feeling today? Hold up. We having a little.
Feeling good. What's up, everybody?
Okay, yeah, we good. My bad.
Hey, at least we know it's working.
Yeah, it's working. I had the other window open. I forgot to close it and it started
Right.
playing. I'm like, hold on, what we doing? We good though. We good. Yeah. So today we're gonna talk a little bit about well, not a little bit, a lot of bit about Malcolm McFadden, his comic book work and the things he's doing, in the creative community. But before we do that, first thing I want to tell you, if you're tuning in right now, definitely do not forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, share it with somebody. Um, the other thing is that real quick before we get into everything, I want to tell y'all about the Scarlet Ranger 3-issue bundle that I have going right now, which is my comic book series. It's on my site. Until Saturday, we're doing a 10% off discount on all 3 issues. So definitely check that out. And that's my plug. That's my plug for the start of the show. But yes, thank y'all for tuning in. Malcolm, before we get to the actual interview, there's one question that I love to ask people. I love to get started with this question. What is
All right, let's go.
inspiring you right now? What are you reading? What are you listening to? What are you watching? What's getting the creative juices going for you right now?
Right now for me, I think what's really getting my creative juices going is just I'm seeing more want for black stories on the internet. So that's one
Mm,
thing as a person who puts out black stories, it's kind of give light and a fire to me to really keep pushing my stuff and really keep, putting out these stories. So that's one thing that's inspiring me. As far as like entertainment and TV, one I would say more so if we're talking about one thing in like big media, I would say like J. Cole's album, like his career is kind of inspiring me. I'm not really big on the new album, but just how his
oh,
whole
they gonna
career.
they gonna come get you. They gonna come
So,
get you.
okay, but hold on, let me give a disclaimer. I do like it, but I'm a huge J. Cole fan. There's other J. Cole projects that I would just
Yeah,
put higher on
for sure, for
than
sure,
this,
for
just
sure.
to clear that up. But just his whole career together is kind of inspiring me. So that's one big thing that's my inspiration.
Dope, dope. Yeah, that's dope. I I'm trying to think. One thing that's inspiring me. I don't know if y'all saw the. There's a trailer. Who's doing it? I think Vivica Fox is in it. It's called "Is God Is." It's like this. Looks like a. Have you seen it? You saw the
No,
trailer?
I haven't. So I've been seeing that. I've been seeing people talk about that, but I have
Yeah.
not actually watched the trailer itself.
Okay. Yeah. So I saw it today. I actually posted it on my Substack today. I do a "What's Inspiring Me" post on Substack, and I put like a list of things. And I put. Did I put that? I think I put that trailer on there. Um, but it's just great seeing like the theme of black stories, right? It's great seeing more black stories, not just in comic books, but in film. And even if you look at novels, right? You look at like the novels that are based off of like the, West African history, and you got,
Mhm.
like Children of Blood and Bone, and what I'm saying? We can go down the list. So I think it's just I feel like we're in sort of a golden, not a golden age, but like it's almost like a renaissance era of like
Renaissance. That's what I've
these,
been saying. Yeah,
yeah, like
Renaissance.
these black creators who are, using their voice, getting their stories out. And we've always been here, but sometimes it gets overshadowed by other things. And so it's cool seeing, even sinners winning BAFTA awards and getting the
Mhm.
nominations and things of that nature. So um I think that's just been inspiring me to, like you said, just keep pushing my stuff and keep, keep creating and keep getting it in front of people. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Um, and then one other question I wanted to ask you is, how do you define creativity?
Oh, I define creativity if you take an idea and make something of it. You take something out of thin air and then you create like music sometimes. Like music, you can you may hear a sample and then you create from that, or you may just hear something in your head and start a little melody or something like that and then create from there. Like I would say creativity to me is really just you taking idea from your brain and then putting it out there, like no matter what that would be, whether it's artwork or whether it's creating a brand or helping somebody with a brand. I think that is like having your ideas and putting them out there is what creativity means to me.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Um, oops, my bad. So one thing that I wasn't gonna ask you about this because I sort of forgot about it actually, but now that I have you here, um, there was a little bit of a kerfuffle on Facebook the other day where somebody put up a post about knockoff culture.
Yeah.
And so I saw it, and of course I saw you having a conversation, a little back and forth, in the comments. Um, and I guess I just wanted to. I don't even know if I have like a real question about it, but I wanted to get your, I guess, just some of your thoughts around that conversation, right? Like the knockoff culture, and how we have, different things that might look like such and such, right? Like,
Right.
what is your approach? What's your thoughts around that?
So as you probably can tell, I got a lot of thoughts from the back and forth I had with the guy. But um so just for context, anybody that doesn't know, like there was this post put up about knockoffs and like how like certain characters look like certain characters, and mine was from my comic book called The Legacy of my character, Malik Mitchell. He looks like some like the character from Empath. It was actually crazy because Empath is actually a book that I knew about before that, but it wasn't Empath wasn't out when I created my book,
Mhm.
so they weren't like I didn't feel too much about it. You feel me?
Right,
Also,
right,
when I saw Empath and I saw like their design, it's very similar to mine because it's a character with a hoodie and also like a face mask.
right,
But for my character, like I told the dude that my character that is not his official suit. Like that's not where his outfit would be done. That's just the suit that he makes now, like
right,
his homemade suit. You feel me?
right,
But in terms of that, like I think sometimes it gets tough because comparisons. Like for one, people make comparisons to a character just off the simplest of things.
right,
So it's
right,
kind of hard to say like something's a knockoff. And especially with that post was talking about looks. And I feel like for you to have a real knockoff, you kind of have to copy the story to it the same, at least a little bit. Cause I
right.
feel like just looking alike isn't enough for you to be a knockoff. You get what I'm saying? Because then
Yeah,
every character that's red and blue with a cape would just be a knockoff of Superman, which there are some, but that's not fair to say that everybody that's red and blue with a cape is a Superman knockoff. You get what I'm
right,
saying?
right,
So I think I think to go deeper into this conversation, I think that we need to look more into stories. Like I hate when you see something that's just a little bit of similarities and you be like, "Oh, that's just Black Panther." But no,
right,
what about the story? Like that isn't just Black Panther or that isn't just Superman or stuff like that. The stories are very different. So
right.
I think that's one thing that for me that I want like to go deeper with that certain conversation is to read these stories and then make comparisons about the stories and stuff like that. Don't just look at the appearances and think that people just knocked took that inspiration from somebody else or knocked or made a knockoff of somebody else.
Yeah, and I think, in my opinion, I think it's a valid conversation to have. You know what I'm saying? But I also think the this post in particular, for him to have put actual characters up, and like, we all know each other. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, we all in the same community. So when you put those pictures up there, now it's like you asking for people to, respond. You ask for people to say, "Yo, what you talking about?" You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Um, and so
And
I
also
yeah,
also I don't actually so I don't think it's bad that he showed examples per se. I think it's just bad the way he framed it. Like if he would have said, like he would just ask the question, like, "Hey, what's up with similarities? Do you think about these similarities?" Like if because me and him actually had a conversation and talked about it, but like if he would have asked, like, "Hey, when you made your character, did you know about this character and stuff like that? If he would have framed it like that instead of calling people knockoffs, which is which is an insult. So like I think using examples wasn't necessarily as bad if you would just frame the question. If he wasn't like, if he didn't seem like he was insulting us, the creators that he used, then it wouldn't have been as bad if it just didn't seem like an insult.
But that's what I agree with you, and I think that's what I'm saying too. If he doesn't have those pictures up there, if he just
Right.
says, "Hey, let's talk about knockoff culture," right?
Okay, yeah.
Then everybody, everybody can just come to the conversation and say, "Well, this is how I feel about knockoff culture." But as
Right.
soon as you put the characters up there, now it's like, okay, if that's my character,
I gotta
I feel
defend it.
like I got to defend the fact that, well, I didn't copy that person. And then even in your conversation with him, I don't know if he was saying it was a knockoff, but he wasn't saying it wasn't not a knockoff either. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So it's like we're not just having a conversation anymore. You think this is a knockoff. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
so I don't know. I mean, I didn't think, like I said, I think it was a valid conversation. I just
Mhm.
thought, like you said, the way it was framed and just the way it was presented made it like a very, and maybe that's good for social media, right? But it made it sort of incendiary. You know what I'm saying? In
Yeah.
my mind, you know what I
It
mean?
kind of
So
takes away from the actual conversation. You feel me?
right,
Like the conversation that we could be having. Instead of me coming into it defending myself, I could have just gave my opinion. You feel me? So we could have had a
right.
much better, probably had a much better interaction. Even though I don't think our interaction was bad, but
Right.
it
No,
probably
yeah,
would have
it
been much
wasn't
better.
bad. It wasn't crazy. You know what I'm saying? I just peeped it and I was like, yeah, like, because I was like, should I ask about this? I'm like, I don't know. And
No,
now
no,
we
I'm
here. I'm
always,
like, I'm gonna ask
if
about
it's
it.
on social media, like I'm fine with talking about it because that's already public. If it's on a
Yeah, for
public
sure.
forum, yeah, then I'm already down to talk about it.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Um, so let me ask you this question, just to to talk about your work as a comic book writer and a comic book creator. I saw on your website you talked a little bit about your older brothers introducing you, you know, to comic books, right? What was that experience like, and what were some of those first comics that they introduced you to?
Oh, it was great. I mean, it was really great. So, um, some of the first comics they introduced me to was like Weapon X, X-Men, Wolverine, Daredevil, Batman, Superman. Um, mostly the big name stuff. They didn't really have too much like outside of like DC and Marvel, but that also started. They were also like big on like books, like Lord of the Rings, like The Hobbit, and also like the Star Wars books. So that started with them like taking me to movies and stuff like that. So it was actually a really good experience that kind of started my whole nerdum. You feel me? So like it started my origin story as a nerd.
So it put me on my nerd trajectory.
Yeah, right.
Nah, I feel that. I feel that. So, is it true that you were also like a hip hop artist or like engineer?
Yeah, so I'm still a hip hop artist. I don't rap as much. More so,
Okay.
my writing goes to making comics, but I still make beats. I haven't done much engineering. I still work shows sometimes, like
Okay.
as a live sound engineer, and I used to be a studio engineer, but I haven't done studio and being a studio engineer in a minute. But I still
Okay.
do work live sound shows from here and there. Yeah.
Okay. So how has, that creative, so for me, I started out like writing poetry and
Mhm.
I used to rap a little bit. And so that sort of has informed, like when I write comic books, I see writing comic books really similar to actually writing poetry because of the economy of words that you use when you're writing. It's not
Mm,
like a novel where you just put it all on the page. You know what I'm saying?
right.
So for you, how has some of these other creative fields in music and engineering and that audio world, how has that shaped your approach to comic book storytelling?
Oh, so like for one thing, when I started making comics, it made it hard to like continue like rapping and writing poetry and stuff because it's like the same part of my brain I used for like writing that I use for writing comics. And it's like
Okay.
I feel like when I sit down and like write hip hop stuff now, it's more so I'm starting to write a comic. So, but like the way that used to how that kind of informs me today is like when I would sit down and like write an album or make an album or like make a beat tape or something, I have like an overall theme, overall sound of what I want it to be. You feel me? So
Hmm.
like with comics, it's kind of like the same thing. You kind of have like an overall theme, you have an overall visual that you have for it, how you want it to look, and what you want to tell to the reader. And that's kind of same thing with like albums, uh like Jay-Z's album, Reasonable, not Reasonable Doubt, American Gangster, where he was kind of telling the story of like a gangster, like the highs and lows and just about that. So it's
Now
kind
we're
of,
talking. Now we're
yeah,
talking.
yeah. So it's kind of like the same thing with you making an album, even if it's not like a story album, even if it's like a more so in sound is more so the theme you're going for. You have a certain sound that you want. That's kind of the same thing that goes in the comics. Putting everything
Mm,
together, you kind of use the same creativity. Like, okay, this fits here. This will fit here. Like this song will go great going into this song. And that's kind of same things with like page turns. Like, okay, I have a page right here. This page will go and flipping the page will go great going into that. Like it's kind
yeah,
of the same things. You feel me? So
yeah,
it's actually really good. Like because you can use that creativity in a new field and still use it kind of the same. You
yeah,
get what I'm
yeah,
saying? If that
yeah,
makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think what was I reading? I was listening to a book on syntax, talking about just how you use your sentences and word choice and things of that nature.
Mhm,
And one of the things it talks a lot about is like the rhythm of the words you use, right? So you might use like you might have a long sentence and then you have like two short sentences and you go back to a long sentence, right? But
mhm.
what you're doing is that's what people were talking about when they talk about the musicality of writing. And the same thing happens in comic books, right? Where, you might have one page where you have, six panels on it, right? You got things happening. You turn that page, like you say, you turn that page and now it's a double page spread, right? And
Right.
now it's this big joint, right? But what you're doing is you're creating a rhythm that the reader can sort of fall into and get lost in. You know what I'm saying?
Kind of like
Um,
a flow and like a cadence in hip hop.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then you can use that to subvert, like the expectations and all those different things.
Mhm.
So yeah, yeah, I think that's dope. Um, so what happened, um, what happened between 2018 and 2019 that made you say, I'm writing my ideas down? Because when I was reading on your website and it was like between 2018 and 2019, I was like, I got to get my ideas down, right? What was that thing that catalyst or that catapulted you into like it's time for me to do this?
That's actually a very good question because it's actually a hard question because I know what got me started into like actually making the comic books, and that was seeing other creators like do it. But like starting writing it and stuff like that, I know the story that I really first started sitting down and writing, and it was the legacy. And I think if I'm right, there was a lot of things going on in my life that kind of had me like kind of thinking retrospectively about my life and coming up and being thankful for also some of the things I had in my life. So because the story is really like a father and son story about passing things down. And I think I was just, oh, dang, it's this is a really good question. But I think really what got me into like really writing this story down was just I felt it. I really felt it. And I felt like this was something, it was on my heart. It was heavy on my heart. It was heavy on my mind. And I think that's what really pushed me to sit down and actually write it. Like because as I remember, I had a friend who he does movies and he does write screenplays and stuff like that, and he got me hip to like this thing called Celtic where I could write my comic book scripts down, and I that's where I kind of started using that. Before that, it started getting glitchy, but I
Yeah, I
would
had to get
say,
up out of there quick.
yo, you use it too.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah, it really started getting glitchy, so got out of there. But yeah, I think it was just that the story, the legacy that I have was really heavy on my heart and heavy on my mind. And I guess that also breeded me to write the other stories. So yeah, I guess that would be the start of it. That was a
Yeah,
really good question. I never even thought about that for real.
yeah. I mean, it's super interesting to me what gets us, what takes us from like wanting to do a thing to actually deciding like I'm gonna do this thing. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And so when I read that on the site, I'm like, nah, I need to know that dash, right? What that 2018, 2019, what happened in the dash? You know what I'm saying? Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think that's great. Even when you talk about like that legacy and like real quick, this is a little bit of a side note, but I think it's so interesting also how as creatives, even if we don't mean for it to happen, like our lives just bleed into everything that we do. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Um, and so even like when you just said, right, you know, you're looking at the things happening in your life and just, you know, whatever's happening, it's like, okay, those things are influencing and impacting and pushing you into I got to do this thing. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
I think that's super dope. And so speaking of like life, can you talk a little bit about the 615 name, like where that comes from and how that became the name of the company?
So that became the name. So 615, a friend of mine, he actually had passed some years ago. Um
Oh,
and
rest in
it
peace.
was, yeah, rest in peace. It was actually about like almost 20 years now. Dag, that's a
Mm.
minute. Dag, time really does fly. But he passed away, and his house was like a hub for creativity. Like a lot of our friends would come over there, used to make music over there. We used to do a whole bunch of stuff we probably shouldn't have been doing over there. But his house was
Allegedly.
allegedly. But his house was really a hub for creativity, and a lot of my friends that I'm still friends with and really close with today, a lot of our friendships spawned from being there. So
Mm.
and actually one of my other friends, we say it like this, one summer we had there was like the best summer of our lives. And then so when he passed and like we kind of moved on from that, 615 kind of became like the name I kept just for like keeping the create not only just his memory alive, but just the creativity of the spot, just the essence of like my friendships with people. A lot spawned from that. So it was really just keeping the memory of it alive.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's dope. That's dope. Um, so what was the first title that you released from 615 Comics?
It was Avoidly a New Breed.
Oh, so it wasn't Legacy. It was so you started writing Legacy, but Evora became the first title.
Yeah, I started writing and finished the Legacy first, and it was actually supposed to be the first title that was supposed to be released, but had some troubles with the very first artist that was on that. He kind of just ghosted me. So
Yeah.
yeah, and then so those things kind of happened, and it kind of avoidly kind of went into production before the Legacy because of those problems and stuff like
Right.
that.
Right.
But yeah, Vorley was the first series I put out, and the Legacy was the first series I ever started like writing down.
Okay. Okay. Um, so what's Evora Lee about? What's like the elevator pitch?
Avoidly is about my character Avoidly. She's the first of her kind, first of a new breed of humans, and they've been trying to create a new breed of humans. And she's the very first one, and they have kidnapped her parents so they can learn how to create more Avoidlys.
Mm.
And now she's using her powers to get her parents back, but she must learn to control her emotions and her powers at the same time in order to get her parents back.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you started writing Legacy. You had some issues with the production of that. You
Yep.
moved to Evora, right? What was the other than the fact that you know Legacy had some hiccups with it? What made Evora like the one that you say, okay, if it's not going to be Legacy, it's going to be Evora that we put out first?
That one was the most ready at the time. Like it was really
Okay.
ready. It was really ready to be in production. I had gotten character designs for that character already done. And so things were kind of already moving in motion for that. And then so once I talked to the artist, um, we kind of gelled from jump, and then excuse me. And then that's kind of how
Yeah.
that project came to life quicker than the
Okay.
Legacy.
Okay. Okay. So talk to me a little bit about what your creative process is like, right? Going from, you know, you have an idea to it's a book and it's ready to go, right? What does that process look like for you?
So to say as quick as possible, I'm making it long as hell.
Yeah,
It
take your
would
time. You
go
good. Take your time.
it would go from first, okay, getting an idea, mapping out the idea, really building it out, letting my ADHD run before I kind of really get it organized. And then from there, writing the script. Normally from there, writing the script is easy because I have it visually in my head how I want it. So unless only times it's hard for me to write scripts is if I just have the idea and I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna just go into just start writing and see what happens. Those ones take longer, but something where I have it mapped out is pretty much easier. So I'll write it, everything. While I'm writing it, I'll also will get people to do character designs of characters to kind of get it visually, see what it will look like, and then and also so I can send that character design to the final artist so he can draw that person. But I'll do all that, finish writing the script, make sure everything is good to go. Then I'll find an artist. Find an artist is probably the most intricate part, I would say, because like you want to find an artist that fits your story. You also want to find an artist that's also in your budget. You also want to find an artist that's available. So like there's a lot of things that go into that. So really that is, and then from that process is kind of really kind of Tom and Jerry, kind of like you hitting people up, seeing what if they're available, if what their prices are, getting people's portfolios and stuff like that. And then from there I just contact the artist. If you know their prices look good, their artwork look good, they're available. We go from there and we just start working.
Yeah, yeah. So I wasn't going to ask you about this either, but now that we're here, I want to ask you about this as well. I've been having this conversation about AI recently,
Okay.
and what's your feelings? What's your thoughts on AI?
As far as what, like, do because
Yeah, just as far as like as far as using AI for artwork.
oh, like your finished comic book.
However it lands with you.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
however it lands with you. What's your thoughts?
It's a I get it, but it's okay. Let me just okay, I'll answer. So I definitely get it. It's like, especially for me as a writer who can't draw, who actually sucks at drawing, like I get it because it costs a lot to make a comic book, but also I feel bad for artists because it will take money out of their hands. And also, I've seen AI art and it's just, it can be good, but it's just not as good as
Yeah,
like
it's not the
the
same.
humans. Like using him, that's weird to say.
Yeah,
Like
right,
using
right, right.
humans. But also, it's that also is an element missing, like the human element missing. Like for
Yeah,
me to put in the AI and be like, hey, da 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 da, and it's like it's missing that connection of me talking to my artist, and then like that artist actually adding their own vision to it and their own creativity. So
right.
it kind of takes that part out of it where it's, I feel like AI, it's kind of just me at that point. You get what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like
yeah,
it'll be my visuals,
yeah,
but with an artist, and this I really love my artists because all of them done a great job of taking what I thought I already saw visually and just making that better. You
right.
get what I'm saying? So like
Yeah,
as we write, we visually, as you write, you visually see the pages and stuff like that. But when those artists who are already visual artists touch it, they add they stink to it. They add their flavor to it. You get what I'm saying?
yeah,
So I think I get it. I definitely get it. I definitely get it. It will save you a lot of money, but at the same time, it just wouldn't be for me. For if
yeah,
my comic book, I'm getting the artist to do mine. You get what I'm saying? So it just wouldn't be for me.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And so this is, and I want to get your thoughts on this. Because
Mhm,
I haven't talked to a writer about this. I've been talking to artists about this. And one of the things that I was saying to an artist I was having a conversation with, we were talking about it. And well, first let me say I don't use AI art, right? I don't.
mhm.
I pay my artists. I work with humans. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not going to use AI stuff, right? But I also said I think what we're experiencing right now, and I think AI is exposing this conversation where we as writers haven't felt supported in the comic book industry, particularly
Okay.
indie. So what happened from my experience, you tell me what your experience is. My experience is when I go into a project, I'm finding the people to pay, I'm putting all the stuff together. Like I am the one person on the team that's taking a risk on whatever happens with this book. The artist gets paid, the letterer gets paid, the colorist gets paid, like the editor gets paid, like everybody's getting paid. And then for me, I haven't had artists help me like promote or market or come up with sales. You know what I'm saying? When I go to cons, I go by myself. I'm not with artists. You know what I'm saying? And so I think what we're seeing from this AI thing is what's being was being billed as, oh, this is criminal. You know, you guys are trying to take shortcuts. You guys don't want to dot, right? It's like, what I think it is a lot of writers are saying, I haven't had support. This is the opportunity for me to do something where it's not as risky for me to do this, right? And
Mm,
I feel like when we're having these conversations with artists, one of the things that artists are saying, and when I was talking to the artists about this, I was saying, like, you guys are asking for support, right? You guys are saying, hey, you need to support our work by not using AI and continuing to pay us, right? And I asked the artist, I said, have you ever asked a writer how you can support the writer? And he was like, no, I've never thought about that. And I was
mm.
like, here's the thing. I'm not saying that you can do more or you should do more. But what I'm saying is that there's not even a conversation or a thought about maybe the writers need support. You know what I'm saying? How can I
Right.
support a writer? You know what I'm saying? Um, what's your thoughts on that?
That's actually a very good point. So, and but in my experience, the artists that I use, they're actually really on big on social media and like and promoting their own artwork, which in turn promotes the artwork that they do for me.
Right.
So I haven't had that problem, but like as you said, there is no conversation about how can we support writers. I've actually just seen this conversation on Twitter about writers not being needed. So that
See,
is,
that's what I'm saying. See, yeah, go ahead. My bad. Go
yeah,
ahead.
that is crazy because that's actually a recent argument that I've just seen about how writers aren't really needed. And then you brought up the fact of not being supported. And I definitely get that. And I definitely, that's why I said before when I said it, like I get why like a writer would go to AI, especially if just from jump, if you wrote something and you like, dag, I really want to see this, I really want to see this, and you have a mechanism right there that you can just do. Like I definitely get that, and that is a, I don't have an answer to that, but I think that
Yeah.
is actually a conversation starter about like supporting writers too, and I think that could also start a conversation where we're all supporting each other and helping each other because we're all in this together.
And you know what? That's exactly what I said. And it was interesting having a conversation because just me saying we should have this conversation, the artist got offended, or it seemed like he was getting offended at me
Mm,
even proposing that. And I'm like, I'm not saying that you have to do anything. I'm not saying you should be or you should do any of that nature. I'm just saying when we look at what's happening, like we can only expect Sony, Warner Brothers, Disney to be corporate and say, hey, I'm gonna use the cheapest route. So I'm gonna use AI, right?
I
Like we
mean,
can
they've already
only
started to.
they've already started to, right? I would not think they would do anything different. They're businesses, right? So then what that would say to me is we in the indie community, we gotta be more diligent about saying, all right, cool. We see what they're doing, we see how they're gonna move. How can we move together? Right.
Right.
And I think it's not just artists who need to make sure writers are supported, but writers need to make sure that artists are being supported, right?
Mm,
Everybody letterers need to be supported, right? The colorists need to be like, everybody needs support in this industry. And we just got to
mhm,
figure out what's that conversation look like for all of us to say, hey, this is how you can support me. This is how I can support you. These are the ways that we can support each other with no money, right? Let's
mhm.
say it's not about the money. Again, I'm not saying that artists shouldn't be paid. I absolutely believe in paying artists, but I think there may be ways outside of just paying for art that I can support an artist. And there might be ways that an artist can support a writer outside of having to pay money or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I just think it's a very interesting conversation. I'm actually going to have him on the show. I want to get like, there's two artists I've been sort of having this argument with. I want to get them on. I want to find another writer. I also want to find like another writer artist, like somebody who does both,
Oh yeah.
and just do like a panel. You know what I'm saying? Where we just sort of put this question on the table and I feel like it's going to be, contentious, but I think it's a conversation that we got to have. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Especially since AI is here and it's
yeah,
basically here to stay. So like
yeah,
it's definitely a conversation to be had about it.
yeah, for sure. For
But
sure.
also before we leave this conversation to AI,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just want to let anybody know with ADHD, Bruh, I used AI the other day to help me one time. And I'm gonna tell you how it helped. Bruh, so when I get these ideas for stories, right? I have like ADHD moments where I just blast my ideas. There's so many, and I'm just writing them as they come down, right? So one day I stepped away from the story that I was working on for like a couple days, and I came back to it, and I couldn't organize my own thoughts. It was bad. So I was like, I put it into AI. I was like, can you just organize this for me so I know
Mm.
what I was talking about? And it literally put everything that I needed perfectly in the order of how because sometimes I'll say, okay, this happens in this story when I like blurt it out. And it literally put everything perfect for me. Like I was like, bro, now that is a good use of AI. That is a good use of AI. People
Yeah,
using this joint in the wrong way. I'm using
yeah,
it to fix my ADHD. Like
yeah,
that
yeah,
joint was tough. But yeah, AI is definitely a conversation that we need to have. But also the conversation is about like people are talking about it taking away from artists. What if artists start writing stories with AI and they
yeah,
just start drawing them themselves?
yeah.
That's something else that could happen.
So for me, and this was another thing that we had a little bit of a back and forth about, but I don't feel no threat from AI. I don't feel no I don't I to me, I feel like if you was gonna first of all, I don't know of any artist right now paying writers like that anyway. So
True.
it's
True.
not like if you used AI to write your story, you was gonna pay me anyway to write the story. So I'm like, okay, that
True.
was
So you're not
that
really
was
taking money from me.
I was never gonna see that money anyway. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? So it's like it is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Um, but I also just think like I think there will always be people who who rock with human art. I just and maybe I'm just optimistic, you know what I'm saying? But I just think there's always gonna be people. And the other thing is I don't think that we need a lot of people. We need 1,000 true fans, right? If you get 1,000 true fans that buy everything that you put out, I think you could be successful as an artist. You could be successful as a writer. You could
Mhm.
be successful as a creator. You know what I mean? Um, and so for me, I just don't. I'm gonna create no matter what. And so everything happening with AI and people. I saw this woman the other day on a New York Times article. She wrote using AI. She wrote 200 novels in a year, and she made like six figures. I mean, yeah, she made six figures, like a couple $100,000, right? And I'm like, I don't care. Like that's like what you doing. What you first of all, that's not a good like breakdown of money anyway. You did 200 novels, you made six. I mean, that's not great. You know, that's number one. Number two, you doing something different than what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm working on
Mhm.
my novel. I've been working on this novel for 5 years. Listen, you doing something different than me. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just don't feel no threat from that type of stuff.
Right.
Um, and so I think that's the thing too that the artists are getting frustrated with me about as well. Cause I just don't feel even like side note, even when we talk about like knockoff culture, right? If I was to see somebody who took Scarlet Ranger and made like basically the same, in order for me to be mad at somebody copying me, it would have to be like the exact same thing, like the same name, the same colors, the same, it would have to be the exact same thing. I just don't feel no way about that type of stuff. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So I'm just like, look, I'm gonna create, and we just gonna have to see what happens. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, it's not gonna
Um,
stop me from creating either.
yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. So, let me get us back on track. Um, so one of the things we talked about this a little bit earlier when we talked about, seeing, the black stories, like the sinners and just all the things. I know you saw Untamed getting the movie deals and
Right.
just all the renaissance of black imagination that we're in, right? How do you see your world, 615 Comics and Evora Lee and Legacy and King's Domain? How do you see those titles and your IP fitting into that renaissance?
Well, yeah, I feel like I could be. another big part of it, just because I have a shared universe of black characters in different stories that I'm trying to tell. And also I think I also can fit in um I can be, how can I put this? And this is also not to say anything bad to some of the other titles, but um there are some times where our black titles are have a lot to do with like black trauma and like just things where like we're put down as black people, things that we've had to go through like that. And I'm all for those stories, but I wanted to be a story that wasn't that. I wanted my universe to be somewhere people could, where black people could jump into and just see themselves as superhero type characters, or in a comic booky world where it's not like things that like we have to deal with in the day to day, or did the day to day with being black and having to deal with racism and stuff, won't really be in my books. So that is where I want to kind of like, that is the pocket of like the black entertainment that I want to be in. And like I said, there's nothing against anybody that you know does put that stuff in their books, because those are stories that still need to be told. And with them trying to erase those stories, somebody definitely needs to tell those stories. I just not that person to tell those stories, if you get what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
I think that's where I can fit in, to where this black renaissance, to where we can have a little bit of everything. You get what I'm saying? So also I think I can fit in just because the representation. I think that people can just see themselves in my characters. I think I put a lot of myself and my faults in my characters, and you know, and some of my triumphs in my characters. So I think that is where I could be, where people can see themselves, can read a comic, and feel like it, like, hey, I kind of had to deal with that, but I didn't have superpowers. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So I think that's kind of where I can fit in.
So let me ask you a question about that. How did you get to that place where you said, and I don't have any, this is not a thing of saying like, you know, you should be writing about, you know, racism and things of that
Mhm.
nature. But how did you get to that place where you said, you know, I want to create stories that don't have those things? What shaped that decision?
It was a couple things. It was a couple things. One of the biggest ones that I still hate to this day is Hollywood always trying to throw out a slave movie every ever so often. Like, y'all can never find a full black cast for like an ancient Egyptian movie, but y'all can find a full black cast for a slavery movie. And
Right.
I was just tired of them. All of our stories that they're willing to tell is the stories where we're treated like, I treated like crap.
Yeah,
We're
treat it like
treated
shit.
like,
We can cuss on here. Yeah, go
okay, thank you. We're treated like shit.
ahead.
So like I just hate that. And and then also, you know, I just seeing it all the time, to where it became like just normal for us to see black people murdered on TV by people that are supposed to protect us. It was just, I just had enough of seeing us treated in a way. You feel me? Like I had enough of us seeing, and I was really just tired of always Hollywood pushing it. And even in our stories, I would read some and it would be like, these are good stories and I like them, but at the same time, I'm just tired of it. I want to see my character with a cape, and I want to see that his problems is the fact that the villain is just crazy as hell trying to kill a whole city. Like, I want to live in that world, you feel me, for at least a little bit. You feel me? So that was my, it was kind of just my anger of just mostly those stories always being put out and pushed to us, and not the other stories. So yeah, that kind of made me want to be the other stories.
Yeah, I mean, and I think you said something so true from the standpoint of like we need all the different stories of the
Mhm.
black experience told, right? And so,
Right.
you know, there are going to be, like you say, it's important to have the stories where we have, you know, the racism and
Mhm.
the prejudice and all those things that need to be talked about in the black experience. But there's also a space where we're not talking about those things, and it's a different kind of story. You know what I mean? Um,
Right.
I was having a conversation with somebody one day, and we were talking about like slave movies, and you know, she was making the point like, you know, this is our history, and you know, we need to see it, right?
Mhm.
And I'm like, I agree with you, but I also think, what if we never saw a slave movie, and all the black experience movies we had was all kings and queens and business people, and you know, all positive stuff? Yeah, it wouldn't necessarily be true, but it might also shape and change the way that we see ourselves. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And so I think you're absolutely right, just in terms of like being able to show those other stories. And one of the things too that I want to say, I've been thinking a lot about wanting to tell more historical fiction, like looking at the Haitian Revolution, right?
Mm,
Looking at slave revolt. Like, I'm just now learning about all these society, the maroon societies that created these free society of black peoples outside of slavery.
mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like they escape
Yeah.
the plantation and they go out and they look, we live in separate. I'm like, what are these? Why we need to hear about these people? You know what I'm saying? So I say that to say I think that's a great ambition, to have.
And
Um,
also to the point that you were saying about how we would see ourselves,
yeah.
also how maybe other people would see us, you feel me? Like
Mm,
if we showed more stuff of just us in our actual everyday, just chilling, or just like, I think that's why movies like Friday was such a good movie, because it wasn't just about like being in the hood. That was like, you could have that type of, well, not that type of day, but some of the things that happened in that day could just, this is like a normal day in a black person's life. Like, like your parents going out, you feel me? Or like you losing your job, you feel me? Or like your man come over that smokes a lot, you feel me? Or like or your girl coming over had problems with your girls. This is stuff that just happens in our everyday life. You get
right.
what I'm saying? So like, I think that we need those stories too. But I also, like I said, I want to keep putting this out there that we also do need those other stories too,
Absolutely.
because
Yeah,
but our history isn't just that too. You get what I'm saying? So
for
yeah,
sure. For
we
sure.
we, we can use all of it.
Yeah, we need the full, and I think that's the thing too about being black in America. I think sometimes we can get caught up in this idea of being like, this is what it means to be black, and if you're not this,
Mm,
you're not black. You know what I'm saying? It's
right.
like, and I think sometimes we as black people do it to ourselves, right? It's not just
Yeah.
like, oh, this is what the white people do. It's like, look, like if you don't like this, or you don't eat like this, or you don't dress like that, you don't do, you talk like you think you know what I'm saying? It's like all these
Mhm.
different ways that we say, well, this is what it means to be black, and if you don't do this, then you're not whatever. You know what I'm saying? And so, but I guess a quick segue off of that is,
Mhm.
in your books, knowing that you sort of not have a different, mission, but you know that, hey, this is what I'm trying to do. This is my path in this industry. Do you ever feel like a pressure where it's like, yo, I got to get this right? You know what I'm saying? Like, do you feel that pressure, or do you just lock in and say, hey, it is what it is?
No, I actually don't think I feel any pressure at all. I think just with the type of stories that I want to tell, I just want to be entertaining. I think I just
Mhm.
want you to lock in with me for like the 5 minutes, 5-10 minutes that you're reading this book. I just want you to have your attention. I want you to be engulfed in this universe. And I guess that would be the only pressure that I would feel. But I feel as though I'm creating characters that are compelling. You see, like I said, you can see yourself in the characters, like their faults, you can see in yourself. So I think, so it's not really as much of a pressure. It's really, I just want to be entertaining. I want to give somebody that time away.
Yeah. So you just wrapped the King's Domain campaign, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. What's your next campaign you got coming up?
Oh, this is actually a comic book. It's a brand new series called It's called Thema Queen of War,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
this is
yeah.
my series about my character Thema, she was created by the gods to be like a protector and a warrior to help people that were going through what seemed to be a never-ending war. And then everything changed for her when she got sent to a monster world where she was alone and fighting for her life for ages. She was over there just alone for ages until she found the way back to our world, but
Mm,
she didn't come back to our world alone. So that is
mm,
what the story is about. It's outside of my normal superhero vigilante genre. It's more so into fantasy
yeah.
with magic, monsters, and gods. So I'm actually very excited about it because it's different from, like I said, it's different from my other series. It's being as in a kind of different genre.
But it's still like in the same universe.
No, actually, this one is not in my
Oh, okay.
615 universe. This is
Okay,
it
okay.
lives. I have a certain rules for my 615 universe where that is like my stories of Vorley, the Legacy, Subject Zero, the King's Domain. All those are in that universe. This one is kind of just standalone. It's kind of just yeah, it's
Okay.
not really connected to anything. It's not even meant to be like an ongoing story. I only have planned one story arc, and I leave like a certain something in the book just in case I want to continue on, but it's not even meant to be ongoing. It's supposed to just be this one arc and then done with it. And if I do want to do more with it, I may, but it's kind of just made to be one arc.
So how'd you come up with this idea for Thema?
Theme of this came from a lot of things. It was my love of warrior women, because I grew up watching Xena. You
I was
feel
just about
me?
to say, I know you are Xena. I know you are Xena. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
That's where it started. That's where it started. And then so also what really spawned me to really write and create this character was I was really bored with a Wonder Woman comic I read, like really, really bored. Halfway through it, I was like, why am I reading this? I finished
Mm,
it and I was just so bored with it. It wasn't, but also I went into the book with wanting something different. And
mm,
then so I ended up creating what I actually wanted. I wanted like a warrior woman fighting monsters mixed with like gods and stuff, which kind of sometimes is Wonder Woman, but I really wanted to make that just the core of the story, and that is why I wrote this story. And it wasn't to be like to go off to knockoff culture. It wasn't to be a knockoff of Wonder Woman. It was just kind of I was looking at Wonder Woman comics looking for something, and I wasn't getting that, so I kind of just created the thing I
yeah.
was looking for.
Yeah. I mean, and to me, when you talk again, I think that's the tough part about knockoff culture, right? It's like
Mhm.
we're always being inspired by the things that we're seeing and
Right.
the things that we're, engaging with and things that are in the zeitgeist, right? And so that's why I said for me, like it's gotta be like the exact same thing for me to say, oh, that's a knockoff or that's a whatever. Like there's always gonna be inspirations and the word's not derivatives, but like, things that branch out of it. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, this is inspired by that. This is, shaped by that. This is my love letter to that. Um, so I think that's a perfectly, good way to come up with the story. Like you see something, you say, you know what, I see what they did there. I would like to do something like that, but this is my take on it. You know what I'm saying? This is my perspective and my lens. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um,
or even they didn't do this, and this is what I wanted, and this is what I
right,
was expecting, and I'm going to do that. You feel me? So yeah, I think everything, a lot of things you take, and especially this day and age, you take inspiration from things and inspiration. But with the conversation, there are things that do actually people just copy off of, just
right, right,
kind of repackage it.
right,
But it's no problem with being inspired by things or inspired by a lack of something, and then wanting to fill that void. So, and like I said, as long as you're not directly copying, you feel
right,
me, as long as it's
right,
your creativity and it's coming from you,
right.
I don't see no problem with it.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Um, so what do you think? What does the next 5 years look like for 615 Comics?
Ooh, hopefully $1 million.
Hey, talk to him. Talk to him.
It's like, no, but I'm really, like I told you, I have ADHD and I'm kind of really impulsive sometimes. So, and really, as I've been getting older, I really try to like hone that in, and I've done a great job. So I'm really in the planning era of things where I'm really starting to plan things out and kind of really map things out and hope and like see things through. So
Cause you
in
cause y'all you got a big year coming up this year, right? You got like
this year is a big year, and I have a lot
yeah,
planned for this year. So, and I
yeah,
spent last year planning. So, next 5 years, I'm hoping to, in the next 5 years, I'm really hoping to round out the first arcs to my comic book universe, and then be working on the crossover event in my universe. That is like the biggest thing that I'm working towards, is like my connected universe besides Thema, with like Hellhawk, Avor Lee, Subject Zero, The Legacy, and The King's Domain. Those are 5 titles that are all in the same universe. And I want to, in 5 years, to be working on the crossover event that I have planned. My plan for this universe was to have all my characters stand alone for their first arc, and then after their first arc, there'll be a crossover event that happens where they meet each other, and kind of the universe really changes and pops off from there. But and then all of them would still go on in their own separate titles, but I just wanted them to like be able to live on their own and then come together, and then out after that still be able to live on their own.
Yeah.
So that is my big plan for in 5 years, to have that, to be working on that and having that in production.
Man, that sounds great. That sounds great, bro. So before we get out of here, I got one last segment. I call it the one. These are rapid fire questions.
Oh, I love
And
them. I love
yeah,
these.
yeah, yeah. So here we go. The first one is, what's one book or comic book you think everyone should read?
Dang, that's hard. That's really hard.
He's like, no, I don't love these. I don't love these.
I don't love these. I'm going to say, oh, this is everybody. Okay. Dang, this is really tough because I want to say there's one comic that's literally sitting right next to me that I want to say, and I want to say, Hardware, the 90s Hardware with Milestone. It is a great arc, and it really talks about like as a man and like overcoming certain things and kind of really stepping into manhood. That when you say everybody kind of sucks because it's really for men, but if you're a woman and you want to learn about a man, you can pick up Hardware. But it's actually really a great book that just talks about, like just redemption, justice over vengeance, and also just stepping into being a man. So I would say Hardware, the very first arc, it's called The Man in the Machine. Hardware, The Man in the Machine. That's what the first arc is called.
Bet, bet. What's one piece of advice that you would give your younger self?
Mm. Think a little bit more.
Mm,
Plan a little bit more. Uh take a couple breaths, you feel me? Just yeah, like I did. I think when I stepped into making comments, I did a lot of planning and thinking, but I think I could have did a lot better job of it that would help me now. So yeah,
mm.
definitely I'll tell them old younger me, keep doing what you're doing. Definitely do what you do. Don't think too much to the point where you don't take that step forward, but a little bit more thinking and planning. And
Yeah.
yeah.
What's one word you would want to describe your legacy?
One word to describe my legacy. Um, mm, the words that are coming to my mind is like memorable or fulfilling.
Mm,
Um, oh, no, impactful.
mm.
I want it to be impactful somehow, some way, whether it be representation, whether it be helping other indie creators, or whether it be opening doors, whatever. I just want it to be impactful.
Yeah, yeah. What's one thing you would change about your creative journey?
Having more money.
Yeah.
Say no,
For
say no.
sure.
Real.
For sure. Hey, that's valid though. You know what
That
I'm
is valid. That is
saying?
valid. One thing I would wish I could change about my creative journey, I really wish I had a little bit of the drawing gene. Like
Mm,
my sister, she can draw. Um, I really wish I had that drawing gene. That's what I wish I had. Yeah, that's what I would
yeah.
change. That I
Okay.
still want to write, but I would want to be able to do
Do
both.
both. Right. For sure. For sure. Um, what's one thing that you would want everybody who hears or sees this to take away from this?
Mm. Hmm. I would like for if people to watch this interview with the things that we talked about, I would like for them to take away that take away from this that I am a creator trying to fill a void, or trying to be whether it be like I said, fill a void in representation, or whether it be the type of stories that you would want to see black characters in. I want them to take away that is my goal. That is my goal, to do that. And yeah, I want that's what I want them to take away. That's what I want them to know about me as a creator.
Dope, dope. Any last thing you wanna push, you wanna plug, you wanna let people know about?
Um, like you said, we talked about my next Kickstarter campaign. I have actually a few Kickstarter campaigns. If you go to my website 615comics.com, there is a section of it that says upcoming Kickstarters. I have for this year, I have Theme of the Queen of War, Subject Zero issues 1 and 2, and later on, I'm hoping to release issue 3. The Bear is a crossover. It's like it's a crossover. It's kind of like a spinoff of the Beer and Bullets crossover I did, and also the Legacy issue 2. Those are all the pre-launch pages are available for people to follow. If you go to my website, you can find all of them there. And the last thing I would like to plug is not even for me. It's actually for you. As I was waiting for you to come on the stream, I saw your rotating slide at the bottom and
Oh,
Scarlet Ranger. I totally did not know you were the man that created Scarlet Ranger, and I've actually saw
oh, you didn't know?
yeah, so I think I saw Scarlet Ranger on Instagram or something, and I never got the books, but I have your website up right now, and I plan to, after we get off this, you will get a purchase from me.
Oh man, that's love, brother, man. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah, bro, that's dope. I didn't coming into this, I did not know that you were
Yo,
Scarlet Ranger. So
that's so funny. I don't know. I guess I just assumed you knew who I was, and I don't know. Yeah. Anyway,
because
well,
it
that's
sucks
me.
because I know all the creators by their like
Their
names.
title. Right,
Like
right,
yeah, like the by the title names. And which
right.
sucks was I'm probably when I start meeting people, I'm gonna be calling them by their comic book names.
Well, that's one thing too that I didn't. I saw a lot of people using their comic book title as their like persona. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like my guy, Danny J. Quick.
Yeah.
So his thing is like Ace Blade. So his Ace Blade is everywhere. And so me coming into the game, I knew that I wanted to do more than Scarlet Ranger. And so I
Mm.
never like put it as like the main thing. Like I put it as something that I do, but I didn't make it like my handle or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I guess I just assumed you knew who I was, but hey, now
No,
you know. It's me.
I knew who Scarlet Ranger was.
Right, 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 right.
I didn't put two and two together. So like when
Yeah,
I saw it, I saw a Scarlet Ranger. I was like, I know that. And I immediately I
yeah.
put it up on my other screen. I was like, oh snap. Yeah.
That's
And then
crazy.
when you said that earlier, you was like, yeah, I got Scarlet Ranger. I was thinking like, yeah, I'm literally ready to buy that right when this is done.
That's crazy, man. I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you.
So
Y'all.
real
Oh,
quick
go ahead.
question. I know he's ready to get out here, but I just want to ask you a question. Does
Yeah,
this site I'm buying it off of, this money goes straight to you, right?
yeah. You on Rolam.com, right? Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay, cool. Just want to make sure the money goes straight to you. I was gonna say I could cash app you the money or something, and you can send it to me if that would be better.
Yeah, so everything is going to be shipping out next month.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, if you do it like that, you'll be on the list, and it'll be on its way.
Okay,
It'll
bet.
be on its way. So I appreciate you, brother. Definitely. Hey, y'all follow his example. You know what I'm saying? Go to rolam.com. The bundle is up. You feel me? But also definitely check out Malcolm's stuff. His links are all in the description of this video. And you could definitely see what he's got going on at his website. And I think the link that I put in there was the link that takes them to your pre-launch page for Thema.
That's cool
So
too.
yeah. Definitely check out 615. And Malcolm, I just want to say I appreciate you, brother. I'm watching you in the community and seeing how you moving. The content and the value that you bring on Instagram and just some of the topics that you talk about and you share about. I just appreciate you, man. I admire you. I look up to you. I appreciate what you're doing in the game. And I'm excited to continue to support you, bro. So
Thank you, man.
appreciate you,
Thank you.
man,
That's
for
dope.
sure. For sure. And everybody who's watching, thank you so much for tuning in. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, share it with somebody, and check out that Scarlet Ranger #3 bundle.
Mm-hmm.
And with that being said, we out of here. I appreciate y'all, and I love y'all. Peace.
Peace.